Adrenaline Radio, 1680 on your AM dial. I'm Fred Blanchard, your host for Adrenaline Motorsports. This evening, we've been fortunate enough to have Mr. Steve Montrelli back here in studio. The sport as a whole is going through an evolution, and as we talked early on, that the big sponsors are kind of becoming less and less, and from what we can tell, some of the big-name drag racers still want to be involved. And I guess some of the areas that they're looking into for their involvement is nostalgia drag racing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, at the Bakersfield race, which was the first race of this year for the nostalgic cars, and it's one of the two biggest races for nostalgia racing, and they're both at the Famosa Raceway, sponsored by the Auto Club, which is also sponsors the big guys at the Pomona. Auto Club sponsors that also. What they've done, two or three of the guys, like Ron Capps, which drives for Don Schumacher in the Napa car, and let's see, who else? Cruz Petragon, he was there. He has a car which is a nostalgia funny car, and it's a 1978 or earlier car. That's what the nostalgia cars are, a funny car. And he had a brand new, it's been out twice now, a tribute car to Joe Paisano. He is out there running the car, and now he's got one of the Bucky Austin, which was one of the guys that won last year and the year before. He won the championship in the nostalgia thing. He's going to tune the car and maintain it for Cruz. Cruz won't be able to run it too many times during the year, and what I think's going to happen is probably Bucky will drive it at some of the races up north.
One of the things that you hit on here was the name Joe Paisano, very synonymous with funny car racing. And if I recall correctly, you somewhere along the way here was somewhat involved with one of the cars that had that name on there. Kind of shed a little light on that, Steve.
Well, about 2 years ago, I was helping. I was running the Danny Paisano tribute car to Joe Paisano and Zeus Matsubara.
Now, Danny is a son of who?
Danny is a son of Carmen.
Which is the older brother, right? The older brother, right,
and
okay.
He passed away about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And the son wanted to build his car as a tribute, and it was a 1974 Vega, and a very beautiful car. It's there's a model being made of it from
Mattel, isn't it?
Mattel Toy Company.
Yeah, that's what I thought. One of those toy companies there.
Right.
Yeah.
It used to be Revell. The car did have a model made from it in the 1970s from Revell.
Now, isn't that, from what I'm hearing, that pretty much has kind of been what's going on with some of these cars of in the nostalgia field, that they're bringing out models now. How did that start? Who started that?
Well, a gentleman named George Dottie, he has a car. It's a 74 Mustang, and it's called the Crazy Horse. And they won the championship 3 or 4 years ago, and the gentleman that drove the car at that time has passed away. George went to Mattel and kept talking, and he put something together about 4 years ago, roughly now, with Mattel to make some mini
models, basically, like little model cars.
Right, they're going to make a real little one to
like
start
the Hot Wheels, I think they were
exactly.
back in the day, sure.
Okay, they're going to make a Hot Wheel collection. It's supposed to be 10 cars, and the Crazy Horse is available now. The Paisano Matsubara car is available now, and I believe there's one more from Arizona. I can't think of the name of the car, but they're planning on making, I believe, 10 different cars.
Well, Steve, how does a person who's interested in Hot Wheels of this kind, how would they go about maybe getting a hold of some of these models that are nostalgia drag racing from nostalgia drag racing?
Well, believe it or not, you can go to your local Walmart or Target, and they are available now.
Really?
And as they build more cars, they will be available at those places. When they get done building the 10 cars, there is rumored that they're going to go ahead and then build a regular, bigger model where you put it together.
Oh, so they're going to think about building a toy model as they used to do before.
Right.
Like a kit car.
Uh-huh.
Okay, very good. Well, that's interesting.
But going back to talking about the nostalgia cars and the big guys, John Force was there, and he was the what do you call it? The
Master of Ceremonies.
Master of Ceremonies or whatever.
Like that,
and he was there, and also Gary Dencham's got a car out there now, which he runs the big show, and he doesn't have a sponsor. He has a nostalgia funny car also. He was there, and he made all the way to the final round, and he didn't run like I don't know, 4 cars out there, but he was if you didn't run good enough, he'd put you away. I mean, he ran 580s every run, never did nothing to the just basically maintained it, changed the oil, adjust the valves, do the clutch, never had the engine apart all weekend, and that's the way this nostalgia thing should be.
Well, we are talking to Steve Montrelli, our in-studio guest tonight, about Nostalgia Funny Cars, which ran this last weekend at the Formoso Drag Strip in Bakersfield, California. And from what I can tell, it was a pretty exciting drag race show to attend. And we were talking about some of the big show, as we call it, NHRA drag race heroes. I call them heroes because that's kind of what they are to me. Attending this event, which is kind of surprised me, and he was giving some names of people such as John Force and Ron Capps, and Densham is another famous name that was out there and running a car, by the way. Steve, continue on and tell us a little bit more about what was going on here.
Well, like I say, you had Petragon Cruz. You had Densham, you had Caps, and John Force was there, and he was just having a good old time. Every time the cars would come up to the starting line, he'd go over and shake their hands, and he was just having a ball. And rumor has it he'll be in the car for the last race of this year at Bakersfield. It probably in one of the Pluger cars. The Pluger has 2 cars. He has a Mustang, 72 Mustang, and he has a Arrow, Plymouth Arrow. These cars are the 2 cars. They're the heavy hitters of the nostalgia cars, and those are the 2 cars you're trying to beat. They run. Ron Capps got in the Bucky Austin Arrow car that was last year, and it's got L.A. Hooker on it now, which was one of the 70s, late 60s, and early 70s cars that was very well known here on the West Coast. I saw the Condon brothers, which were part of that car. They were there, and it's the first time they've been to a race in years. They were asked if it was okay to put that name on the car for a tribute for that race.